love that production value where it's that countdown. Welcome to Big Uglies, ladies and gentlemen. That countdown video sounds like it's at the start of a Linkin Park song. Yeah, just like you're waiting for like Mike Shinoda to come in and Chester, R.I.P. Chester. You're just. It's so intense.
Last time when I went to countdown, I never came.
Well, we're back here with another episode of Big Uglies. The topics they won't tackle. Joined with my illustrious shit-filled co-host, Carl Spitali, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. That's such a great word.
Yeah, we're a little late today because somebody had to dump on deck. All your health stuff is backfiring. My version of today's podcast brought to you by the Little Caesars you see in the background on my trash can. And my shitter is backed up to the point where I only shit when I want to. I never have to shit.
You never have to take a shit?
No, there's enough cheese and meats and
you can time your shits.
I can just go whenever I'm ready to shoot it out. I'll do that, and I'm gonna need to grab something and just fight it no matter what.
So you're the opposite of regular.
Oh yeah, in every way, shape, or form. I'm the antithesis.
Because regular is just like no matter what. About 9 a.m. I have a coffee. I got a shit.
Yeah, who's doing that? I don't drink coffee. That's probably my number one problem.
You don't drink any coffee?
No coffee.
Are you a tea guy?
I do like tea. I like hot tea. I like hot chocolate, but I'm not a coffee guy. I've never been a coffee guy. I like good hot green tea.
Yeah, I don't like tea at all.
All right, well.
Sweet tea, any of that stuff. So
you don't like sweet tea and you grew up in the South?
Yeah. I also don't have diabetes, though.
Yeah, who's racist? Okay. I drink sweet tea out of respect for the black people who gave their lives.
Okay, what about the crackers that they're down there too drinking sweet tea?
Yeah, they are. I've seen Honey Boo Boo. Don't act like I don't know.
She was drinking way more than just sweet tea, bro.
They were eating butter sketty. They're like butter sketty.
Sketties and butter.
Yeah, and then ketchup. Oh, they just put ketchup in their spaghetti. That's a kind of white I'll never get to. That level of, and then putting mayonnaise on everything. Stop it, okay?
That is that Midwest sort of white though.
No, yeah, I don't do that. My stepdad, who was like born and raised in Minnesota, he used to put like hot dogs in his SpaghettiOs, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
First of all, don't hot dogs come in SpaghettiOs?
I don't know. Maybe he thought he hacked the system and bought them separate. No, they charge a premium per can if you get the hot dog.
I tell you what, man.
They're not getting one. That hot dog industry ain't getting one over on me. I'll add my own hot dogs, thank you very much. Like he's fucking Gordon Ramsay.
Okay, why don't you know over there they could get you a whole thing of them? I'm not getting double charged because to get a couple of wieners I can save for myself.
Yeah,
okay.
I could do them on my own. Okay, I know how to boil a hot dog. All right.
I mean, I seen it in St. Paul, so go
Vikes.
They lost.
Ugh. Yeah, is it me or is this season just hard to watch in a million different ways? Because I can we address the 300-pound elephant in the room? And no, I'm not talking about myself.
I'm 307.
I'm talking about the fact that I'm pretty sure that part of the reason this season sucks is that a lot of football players didn't think there was going to be a season. A lot of these motherfuckers showed up out of shape, not ready to play, and it's happening on the field. That's why there's more injured players per team than ever before.
Soft tissue injuries too. They're mostly soft tissue stuff.
Yeah, and what would as a player, when you have a soft tissue injury versus like a ligaments or something like that? What is that usually indicative of?
That's conditioning and training and not getting enough time in, like not being able to get so. Dudes they've rushed back or weren't ready yet from them or came. But the ballers will ball out no matter how fat they get. I mean, you look at the NBA, James Harden came in fat, strip clubs, a lot of scrutiny over it. First game back, 44 and 17.
How much money does James Harden need before he's going to fix those fucking teeth? Can we talk about dude, fix your teeth.
Fix
what do you do?
Your teeth. Yeah. I don't know. The beard is not distracting from people seeing your teeth.
No. No, oh my God, no. He literally, when he opens his mouth, it looks like you're looking in the mouth of a horse. I mean,
That's
fix your
it.
fucking teeth, James Harden.
That's the gift horse that you look in the mouth.
It's not a gift horse.
I think that's what we finally figured out. That's the gift horse.
That's why you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, because inside there it's gonna look all James Harden. And
James Harden-y.
Ugh. I mean, they don't have dental in the NBA. I'd be like, yo, man, you're the face of a franchise. Could you
seriously
just
get it together?
Those extra ones out of there.
Seriously.
Who got extra teeth?
Speaking of strip clubs, I say,
our boy.
All right, let's get right into it.
HTTR, right? Hail to the what is it? HTTWF now. Hail to the Washington football team. By the way,
every time they tweet that, I think they're saying it looks like what the fuck to me because I've seen it for so long in short form and tweets and stuff. So they see like I saw Adam Schefter tweet the other day, and it looked to me like he said, "What the fuck, Alex Smith inactive?"
It's Washington football team. It's not the same as WFT, but thank you. It's you still look at that where it's like, and to be honest, I mean, it should stand for what fucking team? Because they are the most.
Somebody sounds mad.
I mean, the most horrendously devastated franchise. Maybe as a Jets fan, you have a fair argument to make here that maybe the Redskins aren't the worst run franchise in the last 20 years, but that's a tough competition between those two franchises. The Redskins.
You're going to say the Jets? It's actually not the Jets.
I would say the Redskins.
Actually, the Jets are not even in that conversation.
I would say, okay.
Because they
enlighten me.
Because everybody else would think that Sam Darnold was a top pick, even though I think he sucks. There's no way you don't pick a top quarterback in that person. Nobody thinks that they like fucked it off because Darnold is more of a bust than boom.
Well, the biggest difference.
What I think,
the thing that I think puts the Redskins at the top of the mismanaged list is the amount of money they spent on guys that ended up doing nothing to win games.
Me too, and that's why the Jets aren't in there because here's what they are.
They don't spend money.
Here's who's in there. The Browns are in there. The Browns are forever going to be in there. And yesterday proved it. Yesterday proved that the Jets just wanted to say, we'll never be the Browns.
Yeah.
Because even when we fucking lose, the first time you guys get 10 wins in a season in how long? And you lose to the goddamn fucking 1-win Jets, you fucking Browns. Like that's that's what they are. That's why they're the worst. They had a coach last year, Freddie Kitchens. They fire him. They're like, look, they're really rolling all cylinders now. And they'd be like, they're still the Browns. They're gonna find a way to brown this. And look, they're on the outside looking in. They lose to the Jets. Front page of ESPN now. What is it? It's like these teams are on the hot seat. It might not make it. It's like it's just Baker.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's what's funny. That's what's driving me nuts about the league this year is that I have quarterback controversy fatigue watching football this year. And it's not just because I'm an Eagles fan and a Carson Wentz fan, but it's everywhere you look. Everywhere you look, a quarterback has a bad game, and they're like, if he's an older quarterback, it's time for him to hang it up. I mean, Colin Cowherd literally went on his show this morning and was like, you know which two teams could really use Carson Wentz right now? Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. And it's like, yo, Ben Roethlisberger has 2 rings, my dude.
Fuck the 2 rings. Did you see yesterday the game, the 3 drives in a row? This is how they were. Indianapolis was winning this game 28-7. So, right? You can tell what Big Ben brings outside of just you could tell he literally told everybody, just give me the fucking ball back. They get the ball back. He drives down the field, throws it to one receiver on a bomb. Touchdown.
Monster shot. Shot. Classic.
Next, he says, give me the fucking stop him. Give me the ball back. Next drive, Ebron, touchdown drive. Right? Then they're within the game and to take the lead type shit. But Juju, another drive, all passing, 300 something yards. Those 3 touchdowns were the 3 final drives in in the whole game. Like those three final drives is what defined the game. And those were, you look at his stats, he has 300 something yards, 3 touchdowns. It was almost as if like, we're going to go up the field this time, go up the field this time, go up the field this time. I'm fucking Big Ben, bitch.
Yeah,
and
it's
walk off.
It's like he enforces his will on someone and
Tom Brady
takes what he wants, whether
Tom
you
Brady
want to give
did
it
the
to him or
same
not.
shit.
It's almost like Big Ben corners you in a nightclub as a football player, takes your panties off, and does whatever he wants to your holes while 2 fucking security guards are sitting out side, and then you come out and he's a champion.
It's got dark.
Hold on, let me fix this. All right, I think that should fix my audio. Supposedly
that fixed me.
Did it?
Yeah, now I hear you in both ears.
Oh, okay, cool. I had the wrong thing toggled. Thank you, Connor. So anyway, you could say that the thing that's magical about Big Ben is his ability to take what he wants from teams, even when they don't want to give it to him. And some people would say that makes him some kind of predator. I would tell you it makes him a fucking champion. And
the security guard thing.
Allegedly. Well, he's not
Allegedly.
allegedly a champion because he's got them rings. But
hey, Nick Romero, nice to see you.
Yeah,
good guy.
Ultimately, it's one of those things where, I'm over it. I'm over quarterback conversations this season. It's like,
I just have one. We have to talk about one serious one, and this has to deal with quarterback controversy. And this is probably the last one that we'll talk about. As the Washington WFT, this is what we were getting into, has waived Dwayne Haskins, and there's I say the sports internet is about 50-50 on it. There's about 50% of people saying about time, and then there's about 50% of people that are going, black quarterbacks once again on a short leash. And you're like, Jesus Christ, is this the narrative again?
It's always going to be the narrative. It's always going to be the narrative of black quarterbacks on a short leash.
I know. I don't want to talk about the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts thing again, but I mean, they kind of yanked the guy after giving him a major contract extension for the black guy.
Right. Well, I would actually argue it the other way in Philadelphia, where I would say that Philadelphia, in a way, hates having a white quarterback.
In a way, they do.
I think Philadelphians hate having a white quarterback, and they hated him since they drafted him. They had all the reasons in the world why not. We had Sam Bradford, and then we signed Chase Daniel, and why are we drafting Carson Wentz?
Fucking those guys, the fucking
yeah. I mean, the guy.
Why didn't we? On Delaware Ave.
Yeah, it's like, guys who literally cry pork juice out of their eyes. I mean, the guys who spend as much time talking about which place has a better cheesesteak as they do about quarterbacks. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is pretty much the Tommy Lukes of, quarterbacks. He looks the part. Sure, he's everywhere. He's a national treasure.
Okay, but look, Jalen Hurts, guys like Steve Stakes out in Maniac. I mean, he's really solid. Good leadership.
That's the other thing that really fucking bothers me about this conversation, this narrative around Hurts and Wentz. Hurts and Wentz is just about leadership. There's like, it's like none of you guys are in the fucking locker room. Okay.
None.
It's like none of you assholes are in the locker room. You don't fucking know. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said when Fletcher Cox, who's the defensive captain and arguably the captain of the entire team, they go, Fletcher, we saw you liked a tweet where it said Carson should never be benched and should be the starting quarterback. What are your thoughts on that? And he said, yo, my shit, I like what I like. It is what it is. And he was like, I stand by my shit. And so literally you have the captain of the defense going, yeah, Carson never should have been benched. The team is trash. And basically what you saw yesterday with Jalen Hurts at the helm, played great in the first half, and then gives up a lead, makes some fucking costly mistakes at the end of the game. And, somebody said it perfectly. I can't remember which NFL pundit said this.
They like scapegoating in Philly, though.
Yes, they do.
They like scapegoating in Philly, especially when they go, what can they say? What can they say about Jalen? Well, he did fuck it up at the end. but he's a rookie.
Right.
They need a
That's
built-in
exactly what they
excuse
said.
for fucking Philly. It's like Philly just needs a built-in excuse so they have a crutch to go on instead of like, oh yeah, we stunk it up that fucking day.
Yeah, and by the way, like I can't remember which pundit said it today, but he said the only way that Philly was going to win games this year is if their quarterbacks played hero ball. And Carson Wentz did it all season and got crucified for it. And Jalen Hurts did it yesterday because he had no fucking choice because he's surrounded by trash cans.
And they're like, look at him trying to do it all, see?
Yeah, that's that leadership kicking in. It's just like, come on with the fucking narratives about leadership and intangibles and blah, blah, blah. And now it's the same thing they're doing to Dwayne Haskins to tie it back in. They want to get on Dwayne Haskins and say, this guy's out looking at titties in strip clubs without a mask on. He don't care. He looks disinterested. He's a distraction. He's a problem for the franchise. And unfortunately, these kinds of things, like nobody ever said that Brett Favre was a distraction for the franchise when his dick pics got leaked all over the internet. I mean it's so interesting. What's that?
I mean, Jet fans did,
but I'm saying no, it never becomes this narrative of like a guy on the bench is now a distraction unless it's a quarterback. And oftentimes,
also Brett Favre came to the Jets when that happened. We were 4-12, and they were a 9-10 wins team after that. Yeah. It's like some guys could just do it.
Yeah,
it's like.
Well, and there are areas of a team, like there are areas that you can be down to no receivers and you just pivot to a run first game. You can have linemen, injuries to your linemen. You can adjust your game plan. You can't have injuries everywhere and expect your quarterback to win football games.
Dude, and people, I just hate that people treat it as like some fucking morality competition, and that, dude, if the feds never catch Vic's family, the Falcons buy him dog houses and kennels and shit.
Yes. I mean,
are people fucking nuts? Like
his dogs live better than Kim Kardashian.
If the feds don't catch Vic, the Falcons are buying him kennels. There's so many teams that are completely. Remember we talked about that before with like blue chips in college.
Yes.
And like how these motherfuckers are complicit.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, I had no idea that was going on. Really?
Well, it's like
you don't vet the guy you're about to pay $160 million to. You didn't vet him.
That's what pisses me off. I mean, to me, I feel like Dwayne Haskins is the first sort of cancel culture quarterback victim. He wasn't playing well. He didn't win that job outright the way they wanted him to. And then the guy makes the mistake of going to check out some titties in a season where everyone's supposed to not do anything. And the league clutches its pearls, makes a big deal out of it. And then now he's been cut. He's been released. And it probably has more to do with the fact that they had the scapegoat of him not following COVID protocols than the fact that he's just not really materialized as the number one quarterback that they wanted him to be. And by the way, the thing that a lot of people don't actually talk about is he not capable of being a number one quarterback, or is he just not Ron Rivera's guy, has never been Ron Rivera's guy, and wasn't going to be Ron Rivera's guy?
So I don't know who his guys even are.
Right. Like, well, and that's the thing is like, it's easy for Ron Rivera to go, well, I didn't draft him. But you also have never been able to develop a quarterback, and you got a pretty fucking good one in Cam Newton and couldn't get over the hump. So, and then eventually Cam Newton became the scapegoat for why Ron Rivera wasn't winning games either. So it's interesting to me how these coaches, and more so general managers, want to pin it on the guys they fucking draft to not be accountable as coaches.
Yeah, they absolve these GMs from their fucking.
And I think what we're seeing here is something beyond this. But going back to the point you brought this up for, there is this narrative in the league now that happens anytime a Jamarcus Russell gets cut or a Dwayne Haskins gets cut. For some reason, there's this narrative that black quarterbacks are on a shorter leash as high draft picks or as starters than other quarterbacks. And you say you find that not to be true.
I really don't. I just hate the narrative of like, and especially I think it's unfair to black quarterbacks when you're doing a disservice to them of still comparing them to saying, even not me just doing it now, saying black quarterbacks, but it's a disservice to them of separating them.
We should probably not, just for the purposes of, being politically correct, we should probably come up with a better phrase, and I'll just put one here at the bottom. Probably would,
for
be
lack
better.
of a better word, quarter blacks.
Yeah, these quarter blacks. Anyway, quarter blacks. I don't know. I mean, are they on a shorter leash? I don't know. Do you think that's still a thing?
No, because you have to know how many opportunities certain it's such a privilege to be there, right? And you see a guy, I understand the sentiment of why some people are frustrated of how come this dude gets to do whatever he wants, it seems, even during COVID. And these players got when the one quarterback in Denver got suspended or whatever the fuck, and they couldn't play a game because of these fucking protocols and shit. So it's almost like, dude, this might fuck up my money. I can't even risk it. That's where other players are like, dude, he's the quarterback. He's the guy. He's the leader. And the media has been arguing that he should be the guy. Other people have been arguing for him that he should be the guy. So if you could be quiet, you don't have to be the fucking in front of the media like, yes, it's all my fault, and to take accountability, fucking drive the bus quarterback. You don't have to do that shit.
Right.
You can stay quiet, keep your nose clean, and stay out of trouble. And the trouble comes from, I don't give a fuck if dudes go to strip clubs and shit like that. I could give a fuck, bro.
Yeah, I prefer
it. But if you show up like James Harden does, and your debut back after all your strip club controversy, and drop 44-17, who's gonna say shit?
Right.
They could be like, yeah, we fined him for the protocols. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
But they cut this motherfucker because he's just like, dude, and he's not performing.
Right.
So does he take anything?
He's getting beat out by a guy on one leg.
That's when you have to think about, okay, so is he doing enough in his job? Because I can see it from the perspective of I've been cut from the NFL. I've been cut playing professional football. So I know how hard it is to stay on a team or how to be. So I can understand where some people are like, dude, are you really going to piss this away just by doing? Are we to think that dudes shouldn't be able to go to strip clubs, have fun and all that? I'm not ever going to be that guy. So I'm also the protocol shit. Maybe it's a little extreme. But if that's what they agreed to in order to play and signed in their contract, that's what it is, bro. You know what I mean? I hate doing certain gigs, but if I agree to it, sign the contract, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's that's what we agreed to. We got contracts for this shit. So I don't think that Dwayne, I wish I could find the list. I had a list of all the quarterbacks that Washington gave an opportunity to, or should have let them, where they pulled them on their leash to let Haskins come in. And it's, why can't I find this?
Well, and people are saying, oh, he got a shorter leash than Manziel. By what, a game? I mean, Manziel was cut after 2 seasons and was a first-round draft choice as well. And so, what, because Dwayne got cut with a game left in the season? I mean, and arguably, I think in some cases for some of these guys, it's look, if a guy is not your guy going into next year and your cap penalties or whatever aren't going to affect your team, give that dude a head start into figuring out what he's going to do next, and give other teams an opportunity to know that Dwayne Haskins is available as you go into the draft. It's only going to benefit you if you're the Washington football team, because if you're now in the quarterback market, you need to get that guy off your roster so people know to call you about trading up for a quarterback in the draft, or trading for one of these veterans, a guy like Carson Wentz, a guy like Josh Rosen, or whoever's sitting on a roster somewhere that might be able to win you some football games. I mean, to me, I think Washington makes this move right now to let everyone know they're open for business.
Yeah, so this is from Kimberly Martin. She's the ESPN reporter. She said this season Dwayne Haskins has been benched in favor of Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, and in a must-win Week 16 game with playoff implications, Taylor Heineke.
Who played at
Now,
Old Dominion, right?
yeah, so she's writing this, right? As sort of clickbaiting because people are like, okay, so what are you saying? Like, is this like the race card or something? Like, what are you saying? And she is basically like tried to say that she's detailing the many opportunities he's had and lost.
Right.
So people don't understand when, and again, this will probably be the last time we talk about quarterback controversy because we're fucking over it. But people don't understand like the controversy and what exists in it is media. The word that coaches use is competition, period. And
Right.
they always say we got a quarterback competition. And at the end of the day, each one of these quarterback changes comes from a quarterback comp in during practice, during the week and shit like that, especially when you don't have a franchise guy. They don't have a franchise guy. It's fucking quarterback roulette. The best guy's going to play. And they haven't had a guy who could string together 3 fucking games. So each one of these guys, he was like, okay, Dwayne,
And the
you're not the starter, but next week you might get a chance to be a starter again.
Right.
Hey, you might get a chance to be a starter again next week. Every week he had the chance to be the guy. They pulled this guy. They put him back in. Okay, all right, well, we don't want to put Alex Smith in. He's got one fucking leg, but we're going to start him. It's almost like this team was like, please, guy, get it together. We want to start you. So I'm more on the side of like, listen, this guy's had plenty of opportunities. He's done that. I don't think he's helped himself by the strip club shit. I don't think that's the narrative that should have been focused on. If anything, he'd be suspended and shit. It's because of COVID that they're focusing on that shit. Right. It's why they make a guy be in the stands with a mask on when nobody's around and still interview fucking Aaron Rodgers, who's down on the field. And it's just like, you guys are you serious?
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous.
Are you serious? Didn't everybody get tested to be there?
The whole
there's a vaccine. There's a vaccine. There's treatments. There's all this. You've had COVID, already recovered. Now I know there are people that lost their lives.
Might have had it twice.
But I don't know why this sentiment that I'm about to say is like shit on. It's people die every day, B. Like I'm sorry, but like when did we turn into this? We're gonna find guys from like trying not to think about getting annihilated, like in the head. He's just like, man, I just need to just be around some titties and drink a drink.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he didn't have a mask on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. We're like brown shirting people. It's like, they're literally the fun police.
Yeah. Well, and also we're more concerned about this guy wanting to see some pussy. Again, and not having a mask on. That's what I love. That the
he should. He should.
This is what's suspended. This is what's
he should
so
be
funny.
Suspended though, for real, for going to a DC strip club where they don't allow nudity. That's absurd. You should die.
But this is what's funny. Even what's his name? Pat McAfee today was like, he should. He's like, I do believe he should be hit for not wearing a mask. It's like, we care about these guys. To your point. We want to crucify players for where they're wearing masks and where they're not. Meanwhile, some of these motherfuckers are playing with helmets that don't work. Like, if you look at the test scenarios for helmets, everyone in the league should be mandated to wear a Visus helmet.
And they go like, well, it's player safety. No, you just don't want the game to be postponed, you selfish bitch.
Right, exactly.
Who wants to bet on it? Who wants to watch it? Who has a fucking party planned around it? You selfish bitch. These fans are selfish.
I could be mistaken. But I don't think there's a single player in the NFL that wears a Visus helmet that's been concussed with a hit to the head. I could be wrong, but I remember in testing, the percentage rate was like 72% clearance without concussion in the testing for Visus helmets, and this includes college, I don't know if it
Got
concluded the
contracts. They
NFL.
don't even have him in the NFL.
Right. So, well, they do. Vices is in the NFL. Russell Wilson's one of their primary investors. He wears their helmets.
Oh, I never wore that shit.
Yeah, that didn't exist when you played. They're literally like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old company.
Oh, what the fuck is that? I never heard of that shit.
You never heard of Vices helmets? VICIS? Vices helmets, the concept of them is they have like a collapsible shell. The shell is compressionable. So like I think it's Vices. I could be saying it wrong. But anyway, the helmet, it's like a shell, and then it has foam, and then a collapsible shell around the outside. So the part you hit on the outside is dentable, like lightweight plastic, and so it actually gives when contact is made with the head, it gives a little bit, and the concussion rate is like less than 20% for direct helmet to helmet hits.
So you're telling me at the end of a game, Russell Wilson's helmet is crumpled up?
It could be, but it bounces back. It's like dent-resistant door panels. So, but it's this genius revelation in helmet technology. Very few guys, no quarterback, by the way, who wears one of these helmets has been concussed, and to my knowledge, and
Tom Brady wear that shit?
No. And it's not mandatory. It is not mandatory because the NFL wants the bidding of contracts between helmet companies for teams. And Rydell has such a stranglehold on those contracts with teams that they're not going to mandate something that's more safe, like a helmet that doesn't give you concussions, but they are going to mandate something like masks, which we have science that proves one way or another whether it's safe or not. So
yeah, also,
it's
not all of them on the
ridiculous.
field. They got none of their mouths are covered on the field.
No, these guys.
I'm blocking a D lineman. I'm like, to your mother. It's like
exactly.
What the fuck?
But what we're talking about here, which is interesting, because I know, and you're sick to death of the Carson Wentz talk, sick to death of quarterback talk. But are we seeing, with guys like Carson Wentz being on the trade block supposedly, and guys like Jalen Hurts coming in as rookies and playing as well as they're playing, and these guys like Dwayne Haskins getting cut in their first contract, guys like Mariota and Jameis Winston playing out their rookie deals with no extensions, are we seeing the death of the franchise quarterback right before our very eyes? Is the model for the NFL no longer to invest big money in long-term contracts into quarterbacks?
It's not. It's done. It's already done. It's already started to be done. I think as soon as they saw the Tannehill contract, people started to backpedal on them, and they go,
what about Sam Bradford? That guy got paid so much money.
No, they started to backpedal on stuff. And then what happened? Pat Mahomes. They just kept talking about it. It's like, he's going to get a max deal. He's going to change the market. He's got to do it. His agents did that. Then fucking Ballers had a goddamn episode with that shit.
I remember that.
It was almost as if he didn't get it. The fans would have been upset. And he's the last of them.
Well,
Mahomes is the last of the super contracts.
The other thing that's interesting about the Mahomes deal, too, is that it sort of pushed, knowing that the Mahomes deal was out there, pushed a lot of these teams to extend quarterbacks that may or may not have played up to the value that they paid them, because they're thinking, we're getting a discount over Patty Mahomes' money, and the longer we wait, the more the market goes up. So guys like Howie Roseman, Les Snead in L.A., who extended Jared Goff after 2 very mediocre bad seasons, and it got to the point where GMs are going, listen, we can pay them now, or we'll end up with a Joe Flacco situation where one of these guys might win a Super Bowl, and then we got to pay him everything, and then we'll pay him more than Pat Mahomes.
So they basically think about, in this on this go around after the Pat Mahomes shit, like, hey, there's a Dak situation that happens.
Right. Kirk Cousins.
So the owners, everybody's talking about this. I'll be like, oh, the Cowboys got to do right by him. You don't think all the other owners watched that shit and said, Jerry dodged a bullet?
Yeah.
They looked at it like from Jerry's perspective of like, woo, they didn't have to pay that boy $46 million a season.
Right.
They didn't have to pay him his fucking, and it makes you go, do they owe him? Do the Cowboys owe Dak? I mean, maybe, but some other team can now say, why not pay them what you think you're worth a season? 36 million, 40 million. Cool. We'll give you 40 up front, 20 the next year. We'll sign you 2 years, 60 million. That's the new contract.
Right. I think you're going to start seeing way shorter term contracts for quarterbacks. You're going to see more bridge contracts. I mean, if you think about it, the smartest thing the Redskins probably did was not sign Kirk Cousins to a long-term deal. Played well, we'll tag you. You play well, we'll tag you again. And if we can't tag you a third time, good luck, buddy. But we're not going to pay you.
And who's the people that got mad at that?
I mean,
the media and quarterbacks, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now, what happens when you franchise tag Le'Veon Bell or all these other guys? He's a selfish player. He shouldn't do what.
Right.
So the way they look at quarterbacks and the way they look at if every fucking left tackle and fucking what's his name Jenkins 74 from the Packers, who plays every goddamn position on the O line,
Elton Jenkins, yeah.
Elton Jenkins. If that fool on his next contract just held the fuck out, does he not have leverage to be like?
Of course.
What would the media paint the picture of him though? Selfish guy. He's not Aaron Rodgers. They can replace him.
Right.
You're like, whoa, man.
Well, and
I understand anytime a player
like
wants to get money. So anytime a player wants to get money, I'm like, get it, bro. Even if I think they suck subjectively, get that money. Dak, fuck him. I don't think he's that good. Get your 40 mil, bro.
Right.
But I also see the owner side and how they dodged a bullet not paying Dak. Right. And he was the guy who Deshaun Watson got what? Pat Mahomes got what? I'm going to get this. They dodged a bullet. And they're like, I don't think so.
And what happened? Playoff game. You ain't won a playoff game.
Jerry stuck his fucking foot in the sand. Like, no. That is what
paid everybody else. Paid everybody else. Paid Ezekiel Elliott. Paid Amari Cooper. Paid his linemen. Didn't pay Dak Prescott. Said, listen, we'll take it year by year.
Every year they try and say that what Jerry does for the league and how he's changed the league and stuff. Maybe this is Larry. Maybe this is Jerry letting everybody know on notice, like, this is how we're treating quarterbacks now.
Yeah. I think it's something something interesting to look at and it's not
what
so
does
much
it,
about
what does
the
it
money.
also do? What does it also do? It allows these guys to maybe find their own Patrick Mahomes because they're only committing to 2 years from a guy now.
Right. Yeah,
maybe we take a quarterback every fucking 4 years. Every 3 years we take a quarterback now.
Well, I think that's going to be the Belichick plan moving forward. Is like, listen, I know I'm going to win games if I can run the ball and I have good defense. And so
it's like my fantasy draft. If I don't get an elite quarterback, I'm not taking a quarterback. I'm going to stream one every week.
Right.
And I'm going to stack the rest of my team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's kind of where we're headed to as a league. I think you're going to see less term for quarterbacks. I think you're going to see draft pick guys not get extended until their deal's up. And then you're going to see a lot more of these quarterbacks that are in a position kind of like a Dak or a Russell Wilson go, if I win a ring before that contract runs out and you don't pay me, then I'm a holdout. Then I'm not going to play.
Yeah, and that's these guys' value. I'd be like, look how fast Mahomes did it. Look how fast, you can name certain guys, even certain wide receivers and running backs. They've gone into the first couple of years in the league and be like, God damn, they made an impact.
Right.
But for the future, as far as like what they're gonna do from a player perspective, they already have rookie salary caps in place. I can't see them trying to fight a contract and risk a lockout or even strike. I just think their next CBA, the focus should be on maybe more, just share the TV equity more, and then let these owners do that shit with it. Because if they worry about the long-term contracts and the security aspect and the CBA and like guaranteeing this type of shit, I think they'll miss out on bigger paydays, and they'll be like, dude, I'll pay you $70 million this year. And they'll be like, what? And maybe that team could just roll with it and pay $70 million for that quarterback. 35 in a season.
The other argument I would make, though, too, is like shorter terms, I think, are better for everybody. I would rather see the NFL go to fully guaranteed contracts like the NHL has.
With a 1 year deal, with a 2 year deal?
1 year deal, 2 year deal. Give them fully guaranteed money. Meaning if it's 36 million and we cut you, it's still 36 million.
Yeah, 100%. And
But
then the trades actually have the value.
Terms.
The trades actually have the value where they pick up the contracts in
baseball. Look what the trade deadline is like in baseball and hockey, where the contracts are fully guaranteed. You got a guy on the last year of his deal. Your team, let's say your team is like a Jets or something, or even the Eagles this year. You're 4-10. You're not going to the playoffs. Wouldn't you love to be able to have the ability to trade a great fucking player to a playoff contending team? How much better? How good are the hockey playoffs versus the NFL playoffs? Hockey playoffs are great because a team like the fucking Islanders can pick two guys up at the deadline and go to the cup final or to the conference finals just by picking up those deadline acquisitions because they're better than they thought they were going to be, but they're a couple superstars away from really contending. How much more watchable is the NFL with that kind of trade deadline where you're looking at guys like a fucking Dak Prescott going, look, our team sucks. We have Carson Wentz is a great example. The team sucks. There's no line. There's no receivers, right?
I love how this guy's our example every week.
No, but I'm just saying, imagine if they had the ability to move a guy like a Carson Wentz to a team whose quarterback gets injured or something, who's going to the play. Imagine if
or just sucks. Or just sucks.
Or
you've already told your teams, like, listen, we thought we were going to roll with this guy. Fuck, if we just had a goddamn fucking quarterback. Think about what the Dolphins did the other night.
Yeah.
What the Dolphins did the other day is they said, and their coach, I fucking love this guy, dude. I hate
Brian
the Dolphins.
Flores, everybody got a hard on for Sean McVay. Brian Flores is the guy you need to be going and finding as your next head coach. That's the guy you need coaching football games for your
because this guy – this guy said, you heard what he said about Fitzpatrick and Tua and the change?
No.
He said, listen, if we have to go to our relief pitcher in the ninth, that's just what we'll do. And we got a guy that stays ready. And that's how they treat it.
Yeah.
Why can't they treat quarterbacks like pitchers? Maybe I have 3 on the roster. Look at Sean Payton.
Yeah.
What does he have? He's got Jameis Winston who could throw a bomb, Taysom Hill that could do trick shit, and Drew Brees who could do everything.
Yeah.
And it's like
you're not going to lose. You're not a great example. Philadelphia Eagles last year, wild card game. Carson Wentz gets cheap shotted to the head. Your quarterback coming off the bench is 40-year-old Josh McCown. The game is over. The game's over. And it's sick that it was even down to like a last minute drive. The Seahawks should be ashamed of themselves that it was even that close. Embarrassed. But this is what I hate is when people go, oh, Carson's not that good because Josh McCown came in and almost had a chance to win that game.
That guy's a fucking gaming gunslinger, and you need to respect it.
Yeah, and the Seahawks were garbage in that game to even let the Eagles back in that game.
But I hate the disrespect that they give these fucking. So the Dolphins went to Fitzpatrick, took Tua out, and was just like, "Hey, my guy, do your thing." And what happened? Fitzmagic struck again. We just talked about him the other day. Who's a guy you would have right now if you could put him in because he's got fuck it, man. And for those of y'all that don't know, something we refer to on the Big Uglies over here is fuck it, man. And fuck it, man is a gene. It's a swagger. It's a sort of thing that you have to have. And it's where a quarterback will throw into double coverage, quadruple coverage, fucking a man who's looking in his face who he know could probably pick it off. And then just says, fuck it, man. And throws that bitch. And the God who should have a shrine of fuck it, man built to him is Brett Favre. Right. And everybody else who has that, you can see it. And they got a twinge. And they go, it's a little Brett Favre.
Steve Young had it. I mean, all these great quarterbacks
There's a couple of people that you would go, oh, he's got a little bit of Brett Favre in him. That means they got fuck it, man. Jay Cutler had fuck it, man.
Yep.
Right? Ryan Fitzpatrick has got fuck it, man. And fuck it, man is he might throw fucking four or five touchdowns in a game, but he's going to throw that motherfucking pick. And that pick came because of some fucking man, the same way them touchdowns did.
Right.
He was
and
just
you gotta respect the process. I mean, look, every great highlight reel reception, like the T.O. one that we played last week, every one of those is a quarterback making a bad throw. I mean, that throw to T.O. was in triple coverage. That ball never should have been thrown.
But you know why it was?
Just went because he was like, let's Terrell Owen, let him do it. Get your popcorn ready.
I love how that's your Steve Young.
That's my Steve Young. There he go. There he go.
Because Steve
No,
Young,
I was impersonating Terrell Owens, motherfucker.
even left-handed would just go, "Hey, fuck it, man."
Yeah. Well,
What's
it's like
guy?
it's the end of the game. You either win or you go home. That's the choice.
Fuck it, man.
And
That's
so
who on this team got that fucking man is Fitzpatrick, and you could pull him off the. Now this rookie's done great. You've done a great job, man. Let Fitzy do his thing, and that kid's humble enough because when did he do it before? He was that guy for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
Alabama. Remember?
Yeah.
He was built for this.
Yeah,
and Nick Saban saw the future and knew there's a 2 quarterback thing coming. He talks to Sean Payton. He has golf and boating and all types of other shit with fucking Belichick. This is the future.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, look,
and it's like
people were like, when you're man, let me tell you something, man. When John Gruden, I can't
tell you what, man. Give me Peter, man. Give me Derek Carr, man.
Give me Mariota.
Mary. Hey, I tell you what, man. Mariota's pretty good, man.
Yeah,
I stayed at his hotel out in Hawaii, man. Mariota. It's the Mariota Hotel, man. He'll make you stay all night.
He goes out and signs Marcus Mariota to a pretty significant contract as a backup quarterback, and everybody goes, "Oh, is there a controversy? Oh, is he souring on Derek Carr?" No, you need 2. You need two of them.
Now. You need 2. You used to need 2 running backs for a while. The way the league was, you need it, and they had that Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs, 1-2 punch, thunder, lightning shit. Every team had one. Now every team is probably going to need 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
every team's going to be like, yeah, sure, you got a Tom Brady, but who's your Taysom Hill on your squad?
Well, I was talking with a good buddy of mine about the Eagles' predicament last night, and he goes, I think you need to clean house. Get rid of the GM, get rid of the coaches. And he said what I said. He goes, I think you need to hand so you don't blow the whole thing up. Hand the team over to Deuce Staley for a season. Let him be the head coach. He's been there through 3 coaching regimes. He's the only holdover from the Andy Reid era. Let him reconstruct the offense in his image. Go out and get you a badass defensive coordinator. You know I like D'Amico Ryans. I think he's the guy. And then keep both of those quarterbacks and make them compete next year. And then play whichever one's good. And when he's not good, put in the other one. It's like you might play them both. People are going, oh, if Jalen Hurts is injured. And they go, if Jalen Hurts can't play next week, should play Nate Sudfeld. Let Carson Wentz look at next season. If I'm Carson Wentz, I'm going, fuck that. Put me back out there so that I can make you do what I want you to do in the offseason. I'll go. If Carson Wentz goes out those 6 touchdowns against the Redskins, what do you do then? You trade him and he fucking goes off somewhere else. You're all going to get fired anyway.
If everybody got fired, do you think if everybody got fired and cleaned house, in that they would keep Deuce Staley?
They did it when they fired Chip Kelly. Deuce Staley and the offensive line coach were holdovers from the Chip Kelly era.
Deuce just got so much Eagles love. Even when they new coaches come in there, they're just like, dude, I used to love watching you play, dude.
Yeah.
They're all the same age and shit.
I think this is the thing. This is what I think is different, man. And I know Doug Peterson kind of played the game, but Deuce Staley played for a championship caliber team under all those Andy Reid years. I don't know if he won a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh when he went, but he went to Pittsburgh and helped them get to the Super Bowl. I think in Big Ben's first year, I think Deuce was an Eagle or was a Steeler then. But anyway, my point is you need guys. The good coaches in the next few years are going to be guys that played for these dynasties and these really successful franchises recently.
Yeah, because nobody wants to listen to somebody who was a loser too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Doug Peterson's a career backup. I mean, Deuce Staley was trucking dudes 10 years ago. 50,
and that's
not
it.
that much longer ago. So I think you're going to start seeing guys like a Deuce Staley, guys like a Brian Dawkins. You're going to start seeing those guys. D'Amico Ryans literally retired football, started coaching, and if he doesn't get a head coaching job this year, when Robert Saleh does, D'Amico Ryans will probably become the defensive coordinator of the 49ers next year. And if they do anything, he'll become a head coach the year after that. And he's 20. Oh God, I don't know he started coaching when he was 20. So he's like 29 right now, or 30, something like that.
D'Amico Ryans?
Yeah.
The linebacker?
Yes.
From Houston?
Yes. And the Eagles. Oh, he's 36. Sorry, I'm 10 years off. I was 10 years off. But he started coaching in 2017, I think. So he retired in 2016 and started coaching in 17.
Oh, he went right in.
Right.
So that's like at the college level. We have Ed Reed.
Yeah.
At the University of Miami, who's like, I think they made him some special personnel ambassador, president. They have some title for him that's just like,
he's the chief of staff.
Oh yeah, chief of staff, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's the president.
He'll be the advisor to Manny Diaz in strategic planning, quality control, operations, player evaluation, and player development. So he's basically the general manager of a college football team.
Exactly what I'm saying. So they have Ed Reed now with his hands like on the U.
Right. Fully on the U.
So I think if you start getting those sorts of hires, and I think we talked about that in episode 1.
When we talked about black general managers and the need for black general managers who've played the game.
So it only comes to
and
the
not
point
so
of
much
like,
even black. It's got to be dudes that have played the fucking game and played it this century, maybe
that played this century, and that's just how it is. There are more and more and more guys that are getting right into coaching had just come from the league and retiring.
Yeah,
you can't just give them after they've been grinding for 7 years of coaching, and we're at the highest level here. And you still got these old white dudes that never did shit for the game or nothing except their own coaching records, right? You got them still being like the position coach. They're like the offensive tackles coach for the Ravens or something. And you're like, what are you doing? Like, are you serious? That guy should be a coordinator, head coach, or whatever by now. And this is the year that if they don't hire certain people, you could tell which teams only want to maintain the ownership to like collect the cash. Like you could tell like which owner doesn't even give a fuck enough. Like it's not about winning. It's just about holding the franchise and making their net worth bigger. Right. Because if you don't,
excuse me,
Jacksonville Jaguars,
shotgun.
For the most part,
Scud missile comes through my kitchen window.
Yeah,
I don't want to get Jamal Khashoggi.
Like it's just shaped like Fulham FC. So first of all, going into talking about shitty owners. What do you do as a franchise? Because this is what has happened since we have discussed this. The Jets went ahead and won 2 games. So
now they're definitely out of the running for Trevor Lawrence.
And guess what? I have a theory of.
What's that?
They did it because they didn't want to have the responsibility of fumbling that choice and making that decision.
Meaning they didn't want to have to draft Trevor Lawrence already having Sam Darnold on the team.
No, I mean, they know that Trevor Lawrence was going to pull an Eli Manning, and they didn't know what to do in that position.
Yeah.
And the one game they wanted them with the one game,
they're like, pull an Eli if Jacksonville tries to draft him.
No,
he wants to go. Yeah, he wants to go to Jacksonville.
He'll swag the fuck out in Jacksonville. It would be the redemption of when they drafted Blaine. What's his name? Gabbert.
Yeah.
It'll be the redemption because everybody thought Blaine Gabbert was going to be sunshine, but Trevor Lawrence is sunshine.
Yeah.
Listen,
why you play the game or how you want to play the game, where you want to play the game. I'll tell you this, it's going to be a lot more fun playing it somewhere where there's no state income tax. That for sure To me, would be a hell of a lot more fun. You know, when Jacksonville was spending all that money a few years ago, and guys like Malik Jackson had just won a Super Bowl, signed in Jacksonville, Calais Campbell, Jacksonville, and people are going, "Why are these guys all going to Jacksonville? And we ain't got to pay that tax."
They need a break. They need a break.
They were like, "Yo, listen, we'll play, and if we win, we win." But they got Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey, and Blake
That was
Bortles
when they called it Saxonville.
Yeah, they were just like, "Yo."
They were there for like 2 years, ready to just get it in. They'd be like, "Listen, man, I need this tax break. Hey, we're gonna try and win it, okay? Hey, we're gonna try and win it, okay?" That's my
that's the best Calais Campbell impression I've ever heard in my entire life. I thought he was here.
Hey, all right, then.
That's it. That's all he says. He's like, says those 3 words like he's got a pulpin.
Listen, I've been doing this a long time. Oh,
it's so funny.
We're going to get sacks today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He sounds 176 years old, but
he also sounds like an actual live Muppet.
Yeah. And why is
that's a block. Ah!
His face is so smushed in too. It's like it looks like somebody took his face. And
what up, big dog? Shout out to Calais.
That's what football players are supposed to look like, by the way, and sound like.
That's why I have a smushed face. Look, it's all like my face is like right here. If I take the glasses off, it's just like in. Yeah, it's just like all my face is right. Just right.
The helmet pushes it in. The helmet pushes it all in.
But we want to be seen on TV. So you need to have face. You need to have face mask face.
Helmet. Yeah.
You need face mask face.
Tiny features, giant melon. Speaking of helmets, before we get out of here, one piece of news that came over today that I thought was kind of interesting. Doesn't pertain to football yet, but it might. The NHL officially allows helmet sponsorship for the upcoming 2020-2021 season, meaning they will have actual sponsors on their helmets for the first time in the history of the game. And I texted that to you and said, how long before this hits the NFL? Now, I don't think it'll be helmets in the NFL because so much of their logo is the helmet.
It'd be jerseys.
But I think you'll see jersey patches and everything. I mean, are we a season away from that in the NFL?
Yeah. And we're also, because the NBA started small with the little patch over
on
here.
On the chest, yeah.
And during free throws is when they focus on it, and they do put the camera in it, and they kind of zoom out, and then they do that little jerk, and you're like, okay, I see what you guys are doing.
Well, and I imagine they'll do it on face-offs. They'll do it on face-offs in the NFL while the guys are down and their helmets are right next to each other. They'll literally pull into that helmet shot where you can see the sponsors on each helmet and then pull out from the face.
The NFL has more of a similar fan base to NASCAR, so I wouldn't be like surprised if it happened. Yeah. If it happened to be like, oh man, I want to get that one jersey, but it's got they made them cool orange because it's all Tide and it's got the Tide logo right here, man. It's cool, it's whatever, man. But it's like Tide and it says Buccaneers with the Tom Brady on it, man. It's a young feller out there in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
Out there in Tampa Bay. You'd be surprised how many people in Florida actually have the thickest hick accents.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I have what people will say to me about Florida, like a lot of with the COVID, everybody's moving around the country, and a lot of conservative people, that were in LA or whatever have moved to Florida. And my girlfriend asked me the other day, she goes, why would they go to Florida? Is Florida like really country? And I was like, fuck. Yeah. Like even in the places that don't look country, like no cowboy hats and buckles.
No. That's a different type of country. Florida country. If you ever want to give your girl an example of Florida country, just make her watch Ace Ventura and so she has it fresh in her mind and go Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
And Ray Finkel's house and that, Collier County shit.
Florida country is like
it's swamp country. It's like Louisiana country.
It's like Colonel Sanders' mustache and like a wife that might be 12. You know what I'm saying? Like listen, they start bleeding at 10, so what's God want? That's what I'm asking.
Listen, like I think it's more of a And this is how I explain the attitude of Florida to people. That people don't understand. It's like America has an attitude of, well, you can't tell me what to do. Florida has, uh, you can't tell me what to do, and I'm gonna show you why, Jack.
Right.
that's
It's like
Florida.
America an extra level. Yeah.
Well, because
like
that's
America
why it's the comma
2.
at the end. That's why it's like America, comma, and some other shit. That's Florida. It's just like the comma, it's just hanging on at the bottom. It's like there's about to be some more shit. I know it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's just here's why people want to go to Florida during this pandemic too. They've been open for months, and we have less cases there than we do here in LA.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, LA should be an example of why all this is going.
It rained today in LA. Speaking of garbage, the drains don't work because there's nothing but trash that's filled up in there. But these motherfuckers want to advocate for plastic straws. And then that's it. They think they saved the world and the planet. We banned the straws. The streets are literally filled with garbage that the drains don't work. So when it did rain today, finally, it's flooding all over.
Do you know why the straws are the least of your concerns? And people are going to fucking hate me for this. When I used to rideshare drive all the time, let's say I would stop and get McDonald's and I go through a drive-through, right? And then let's say I'm in a neighborhood where there aren't trash cans on the side of the road. My cup, which has a plastic straw in it, is probably going to stay in my cup holder because I'm going to keep drinking it and I'll fill it with some water and use the rest of my ice or whatever. So my cup's fine. The bag of Big Mac and fries that's now empty, that's going out the window into the street in front of your house. In a drive-by fashion. So you might want to ban the bags, the Mac boxes, and the fry containers before the straw, because I'll even chew on the straw. My trash is going in your street. So
that's
take
terrible.
that, California. You should find me. Yeah.
It should be like Canada here.
Biodegradable. Okay.
It should be like Canada here, where you get fined for trash, and then people will start looking at trash like how they should be and go, oh my God, this is trash. Why is it on the ground outside?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm not throwing it on the ground in Pasadena, but put it this way, there are places where my trash lands on someone else's trash. And I figure, what's the difference? If I shit on top of a pile of shit that was already there, I'm not making
Josh is like, look, if I see a pile of trash, fuck it, man.
Yeah. I mean, listen, as long as my carbon footprint fits over someone else's, I don't see a problem.
That's ridiculous.
Oh man. Well, this is a short one this week. Not a whole lot to talk about as the season winds down. Is there anything you're looking forward to in the off season or the draft or whatever coming up? I mean, we're not really out of the COVID woods yet. How do you think the season next year is going to shape up?
Man, open all this shit up, bro. I mean, come on, bro. If you get fine, don't have a sellout of 60,000. Limit, put 25 in that bitch. Let's go. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. If you're scared, stay home. That's how I feel about it in 2021. It's the roaring 20s again. I'm gonna get slimmer and get a motherfucking tailored suit and wear it all the time, like a fucking. I don't know.
You know what I think is interesting?
Boardwalk Empire, right?
I think this is a dangerous. 20s? I think this is a dangerous season to try to be evaluating players in, and I'll tell you why. I think there are some guys,
college players, right?
Not just college players, NFL players or young.
You think they should all get an extra year because of COVID?
Yeah, I think college football players should get another year of eligibility. Yes,
I think they should all get another year, all of them. It doesn't matter the year. If you're a senior, if fifth year senior, you get 6.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Can we petition for that?
But I think what's kind of interesting is. There are guys who might be playing well this year who are young players because there's no crowd noise to distract them between the years. And there might be guys who can't play in the silence or play well with the crowd noise because the other players on defense or skill position or whatever don't play well with the crowd noise. So what's interesting is you'll get a guy like Carson Wentz and you go, oh, is Carson Wentz, did he forget how to play football? Here's a theory. Maybe it's because their unimaginative play calls are being interpreted in an empty field much faster and the defense is responding much quicker. And maybe a guy like Jalen Hurts is balling the fuck out because there's no crowd noise at the link booing you when you throw an incompletion. So there are some things that make evaluating players particularly in rough cities like Philadelphia and New York.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll take Carson Wentz any day on the Jets, especially if Darnold's there. Cool, roll with them and go. Let's have a quarterback competition.
Let's have a ginger bake-off.
Let's do it. I think anybody, Phillip Rivers, if he was going to re-sign another year, it doesn't mean I'm not going to take another quarterback because Phillip Rivers did well this year or whatever the fuck. Ben Roethlisberger balling is like a motherfucker. I'll still draft another one. It ain't to replace him. We need two.
Right.
But
I do think there's some danger to trying to evaluate or over-evaluate players right now with
so
the way the game is.
So I'll just quick ask you, who do you think in college has gotten a sort of a bit of overhypeness, if you will, from the shortened season, or you think, they should go back still if they're going to leave early, or and alternatively, who do you think in the NFL is not benefiting from having this COVID? Like they have a down year and shit outside of Carson Wentz, like somebody that doesn't react to the crowd, or like they need the pressure, they need the fucking adrenaline, whatever the fuck. So in college, who do you think is this has helped? This COVID situation has helped, and they're actually going to be a bust. And then in the league, who you think
a guy who scares me to death coming out of college is Justin Fields. I think, I think he's looked pretty serviceable this year, but I'm thinking, again, part of playing in the Big Ten.
You saying scares you like bust wise, or scares you like
scares me bust wise, meaning like, I think the Big Ten, what makes competing and playing well in the Big Ten is the pressure of those games in those big college cities like Michigan, like
Penn State, dude. Penn State. There's 109,000 people.
I mean, you take the crowds out of those situations in college football, you're not really getting a real look at these guys' ability to play under pressure. So, a guy like Trevor Lawrence,
with 100,000 people, a fumble, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I know dudes scrum for a shit, but
yeah, I think a guy like Trevor Lawrence is probably going, fuck, I wish I came out last year. Maybe not, but ultimately, like him, Micah Parsons, all of their tape was on beforehand.
You know what I have noticed though? There's been less pass interference penalties.
Well, in the NFL, yeah.
You know why?
Yeah, especially when there should have been pass interference penalties.
You know why though?
Why?
There's no crowd.
Oh yeah. To
sway them
on. Yeah.
Well, you remember how many flags the fucking Seahawks would get because the crowd would go, boo, because they don't know cock about football in Seattle.
Yeah.
They're just boo everything and shit. They get so many flags. Every time they play the Packers was like a flag controversy. Now motherfuckers are beating the Seahawks like, fuck y'all pussies.
Right.
Like they don't care about going to Seattle. Home field advantage doesn't matter in the playoffs.
In terms of NFL, in terms of NFL, the two guys I think have struggled without crowds, who play better in big crowds with pressure.
Jamal Adams?
No. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily Jamal Adams. I would say, just quarterback-wise, I would say Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. I think both of those guys play better under big lights with a lot of pressure in big games, and I think they've dropped a couple.
Not for nothing, but that's how I was. On games where it was big, I always played to my competition, which sounds horrible and you should never do, but it just always seemed to be that way. And when we played Nebraska and I was going against Sioux, I'm like, man, playing the best of my career. We went and played against Wyoming at a home game, and like I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, fuck a Wyoming. Like, and I played like that. And it's just it's so funny to even think about like playing down to your competition like I'm some fucking big shot. But I responded better in the big time adrenaline games, like the huge game. When we played South Carolina, went out and played Sprayer Squad. Like I always played awesome in those games because I'm ESPN Motor City Bowl, like against Antonio Brown and them. I was on because I'm like, bro, this shit is on TV. Like that's how I look at it. I'm like, this shit ready, but like no crowd. I can't even imagine playing in that.
Well,
it's like a shady high school game.
I mean, listen. It's not very different for us as stand-up comedians. You show up and it's a packed house, and it doesn't matter if it's a packed house.
But we never did 50, a packed arena.
Well, what I'm saying is like a packed 50 house, or a packed 50 person thing, or a packed 2,000 person theater. Packed versus empty definitely dictates your ability to perform. You're a fucking serial killer if it doesn't. A guy who goes up on stage in front of 4 people at a show that wasn't well promoted, who lays out like he's doing an arena, is a serial killer. And that man is not to be trusted. Like, I always play down to the level of the audience because you don't want to...
Because they fucking deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like... But it's like one of those things of like,
Fucking
there
pieces
is
of
a...
shit.
Imagine you're having sex with a woman and she's like, if we could just go like nice and slow and take this easy. You're like, fuck that. And you just start drilling her, right? That's a crime. It's the same thing with comics and audiences. You start bringing Chris Rock, bring the pain energy to a room with 4 people. You're a fucking serial killer.
And you'll probably make it though.
Yeah, you probably, that kind of delusion is people look at that.
You'll probably make it with that fucking, that's Kevin Hart ethic.
That is Kevin Hart. That is Kevin Hart to a T. Like, fuck it, nobody here. I'm gonna go
2
off
people.
anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it. How we doing, people? Okay.
But yeah, I mean, right or wrong, that's just how I am. I think I play down to the audience as well. And I just,
I did that when I was playing 76ers. Guys will run around, everybody talking. So many guys trying to talk about role player, what to do. I'm a superstar. So I didn't even talk about how I acted like a superstar. I didn't even care. Just put my hair down. Never really bother nobody.
You know what? One of my favorite things about you is one of the I can't remember where I read it or heard it, but one way you know you're really good at doing impressions is there was a review of my podcast when you were on once as a guest where people are like, this fucking black guy is terrible. And I was like, people actually think this dude is black, which means he's not terrible. He's great.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite reviews of anything.
This fucking black guy sucks.
This fucking black guy is terrible. And
you know,
like,
it's some
he's not
fucking
even black.
Peter Griffin fat fuck too. That was this black guy needs to be off.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. It was not so big, not so ugly this week, but I'm sure something will happen in the NFL. Some chick will get split in half and fed to lions, and we'll have something to talk about next week.
Jesus Christ.
Anything you want to say or plug before we get out of here? By the way, we should plug
this thing right here. This right here. Can you guys?
Yeah, Cash App.
That.
Yeah.
Just Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. A couple of comics trying to do some stuff. You're basically donating to the Big Uglies Fund. It gives us some production value.
Yeah.
How about that?
Try to take this thing up a notch. And the other thing you could do to help with that is go subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. I posted on my website today. I'll do this. Hold on here real quick.
Do that shit.
Let me pull this up so everybody can see. I posted this on my site today, but if you guys want to go over, check out the Big Uglies podcast. We're now everywhere podcasts are streamed, so you can get us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Play, Jivin, whatever that is. I think that's a podcast platform for black people. iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and what the fuck is this?
Wait, which one's the one for the black people?
This one, it's called Jivin.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. These are all the places. Anyway, you see these logos on the visual.
You see what the fuck going on. Everybody know. You see it everywhere. You can get a goddamn podcast. It's out there. That purple shit, that's Apple. That green shit, that's Spotify. You feel me? All the way down there, you see it. It's SoundCloud. You know what the fuck going on. It's the Big Uglies.
Yeah. So go on those platforms, rate, comment, subscribe. All the good stuff, and
keep the change, you filthy animals.
Yeah, exactly. And thanks for tuning in and listening to us live. And subscribe, check it out. We appreciate it. Thank you, guys.